Today we're going to talk about the rapidly changing metagame for Jenga and how you should best adapt yourself if you're going to go enter some of the tournaments that we're seeing here, especially as some of the grandmasters are starting to change from more passive strategies to aggressive strategies. Alright, I can't even keep that up for much longer than that. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin, don't worry. The reason we started off with Jenga here is because I wanted to sort of show the evolution of where we're at in terms of price action. At the beginning of October, our Jenga tower looked like this. Beautiful, fully structured, no risk involved with it, or very little risk. And then we moved into what you see here. As price started moving above the 4,500 level, the risk started to go up, and each and every single day, we pulled a new block. And as you pull each block, of course, the probability of price collapsing gets higher and higher. And this is where I think we're at today. We're essentially at the point now where I believe we're going to see prices continue to go up until roughly the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. And then we're going to see this happen. And I know this is really professional video editing. You'll have to forgive me. But seriously, maybe this analogy isn't the best, but what I want to point out about this is that each and every single day, the risk associated with Bitcoin is getting higher and higher, especially as people are believing that the Bitcoin Gold hard fork is going to be free money. It's not free money, and the more people who believe that it is, the more likely it's not going to be free money. In fact, I noted from some of the previous comments on the last two videos I had that essentially a lot of people don't understand why would you sell Bitcoin before the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. There's no reason for you to do that because then you miss the Bitcoin Gold. It makes no sense. What I have to explain about this is that the combined market cap of Bitcoin plus Bitcoin Gold can be lower than the market cap of Bitcoin by itself before the hard fork. And you might be asking, why would that happen? Because everybody invested with the expectation of free money, and if Bitcoin Gold tanks right away, people might start selling Bitcoin as well because the only reason they bought it in the first place was because they thought they were getting a dividend. And so what I want to point out about this is that every single day we're pulling a new block from the tower that is Bitcoin. And in this particular scenario, you're playing with fire, but you might benefit if you purchase Bitcoin now and hold until roughly October 20th to 25th, right before the Bitcoin Gold hard fork. Personally, I'm not going to be doing that because it can collapse before then. It may not be likely, but it can collapse before then. What's interesting about this is every single time we pass a new $1,000 price level, the previous $1,000 price level looks attractive or low. So for example, when we passed the $4,000 barrier and hit towards $5,000, $3,000 seemed fairly cheap and we saw a rebound. What's going to be interesting now is the next time that Bitcoin corrects, I have to wonder, is $4,000 now going to seem cheap? And I have a feeling it might, just a little bit. So that should be interesting to see as well. So if we see a correction in Bitcoin following the Bitcoin Gold hard fork, maybe it's not all that likely we move below $4,000, despite the fact that if you look at the history of Bitcoin, of course $4,000 is still a very high price level. Now, in terms of where you should invest right now, I'm going to stick with altcoins myself, at least personally. And in terms of the altcoins that you should invest in, I really don't want to give too many names here because I don't want to be responsible for encouraging you to purchase a particular one that then doesn't do all that well. But in terms of names that I'm looking at personally, I'm looking at Monero, I'm looking at Zcash, I'm looking at Waves, I'm looking at ARK as well. 10x are some examples of cryptocurrencies that I'm looking at. I wouldn't really go too far below the 50th place on this list. You guys know that I'm invested in Vertcoin as well, but when it comes to cryptocurrencies that are lower on the list, I tend to think they're going to be at higher risk if we see a huge market correction. However, I know that in the previous market correction, my altcoins did fairly well against Bitcoin. Part of the reason why I like altcoins is because I think they'll benefit in both scenarios, whether Bitcoin goes up or Bitcoin goes down. If we see Bitcoin move towards $6,000, in the second half of August, we saw altcoins start to appreciate against Bitcoin, despite the fact that Bitcoin was moving up towards 5,000. I suspect that we might see a similar scenario as well, where altcoins start to catch up as everybody realizes that we're moving into a cryptocurrency bull market. If the opposite scenario happens where Bitcoin starts to sell off, everybody knows that Bitcoin has appreciated very quickly lately, and they're probably going to move their capital into altcoins, which means that if we see a correction in Bitcoin, then altcoins should do well, or at least if they're down in dollar terms, they should be up against Bitcoin, at least the better ones. Again, that's why I recommend to stay within the top 50 on this particular list. And I would also try to avoid some of the newer ones like Chainlink and Walton that really, at least in my opinion, haven't proved themselves in price action yet. So overall, I just wanted to give my quick opinions on the market. Not a longer video this time, hopefully not too much rambling. I hope you all enjoyed the video. As usual, leave a like, comment, and subscription. I'd love to hear your opinions on this particular market right now. Thank you for watching.